everyone. Welcome to Dice on Ice. My name is Megan, and tonight we have somewhat of a semi-finale, I suppose, of a small mini campaign inside of the larger campaignception, if you will, in our Curse of Strahd, and we're going to get right into it. It's going to be exciting, I hope, and Jake has been wonderfully voluntold to do the recap. So, take it away.
All right, can you hear me? Literally, as you were doing the intro, my internet blipped.
Oh no.
So, just making sure I'm here, for real. All right, well, we've been making our way through this so-called death house, and it's not been an altogether pleasant experience. We've found some friends along the way and lost some friends along the way. Nobody died outright, but we seem to keep losing people once in a while. We've had a few situations where things got a bit dire. We had a couple of heartfelt moments as we get to know one another. We began working our way towards what we thought might be finally getting out of this place when, we just couldn't leave well enough alone. Some of us feel the need to make sure there's no shadows left unlit. Not to point any fingers, but I may be one of these guys. Making our way out, we found what appeared to be some sort of family crypt. And there were 4 of these crypts. And, well, we got 4 of these mysterious boxes in our possession. So naturally, I thought we should take a good long look at possibly returning these boxes. Some members of our party thought it was a good idea to stick spectral fingers inside holes, and things didn't turn out too well there. All around, these damned boxes, and I say that in the truest sense of the word, were causing us quite a bit of pain. Again, in the truest sense of the word. But eventually, we were able to move on from that, or rather, I was convinced we should move on from that. And what should we find but 2 more of these familial crypts? And in the course of investigating these additional crypts, we found one of them open, and inside we found a spirit of the maidservant of the house, the I guess the nanny, if you will. And we spoke with her at length, and she even said she would guide us. She did caution us that we should not take anything that we did not come into this place with, at which point myself and I believe a couple others got rid of weapons, armor, and other things that we had found along the way, thinking it best to not proceed with those items. We were given a choice of either taking the direct route or taking a route that would allow us to learn a bit more. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we chose the direct route. And that's where we left off. Now, I may have left out a few key details here, but you can go back and view our journals and logs from our previous adventures for the more detailed. But I think I hit all the high points.
Yep. I think so. So, your name has been etched into a list, and you will see what that does later on.
I'm not entirely certain if that makes me feel go right, but I don't have a choice, I guess.
The list is a lie. Don't believe it, Jake.
So, when we left off, you guys had approached where Maria had said this would be the final place, the place that would end better or for worse the trials that have been the death house. And you find that you're going steeper along this incline, and then you soon find that you are in about a few feet of these mucky, disgusting water. And in front of you is a portcullis. It is closed, and you find that beyond it, you see a very large room. Though you could only see what is inside a bit. You can't see the full room. And so what would you like to do?
Well, so much for a direct route. Let me see if I can do anything about this portcullis. But I can only lift so high, so I might need some help. I'm gonna just try to brute force it.
All right, and is anyone helping? Eli.
I imagine Fel would look over to Oscar and be like, "I think this is definitely your wheelhouse. Maybe want to help out the dwarf."
All right, he definitely would, with a ho-har and something about his father.
Yeah, ho-har indeed.
All right, so make me an athletics check with advantage.
All right, so that's going to be well, it's 14 on both dice, so that's a 19 total.
So you feel this rusty iron that is this portcullis begin to squeal and groan in direct defiance to what you're trying to do, but eventually you feel it give way after straining a bit, and you find that you're able to open up the portcullis, at least enough for everyone to duck through.
We ain't gonna hold this thing all day.
Right, and Fel will start to duck through, and then she's going to look back and kind of gesture to Lancelot, the dog that's been tagging along with us, to come with her, and then the two of them will duck underneath and move.
Yeah, let's make sure the dang dog makes it in.
He is the best thing we have found in this house.
I am not
I'm
sure
sure he
how I
meant
take
no
that.
offense there,
Actually.
Corla. I'm sure he meant no offense there, Corla.
As far as I know, Lancelot has never looted the dead, and then she goes into the next room.
Everchild, I will follow you.
And Everchild will just duck underneath the portcullis. He wouldn't even need to duck, just walks under.
You find that this portcullis is becoming quite heavy, and you don't know that you'll be able to lift it for much longer. Oscar looks to you. Go.
All right, come on in. Right after me. 3, 2, 1. And I let go and duck in, looking back for Oscar to follow me.
You see that he does not. He is on the other side of the portcullis. And he just looks at you and he kind of shakes his head. And in a voice that is not of his own, he turns to you, Everchild. Glewin calls for me. And he turns and he leaves into the darkness. It was almost, you could see Oscar's eyes. It almost looked like he was in a daze, that he was not truly seeing what was in front of him, that he was not in control of his faculties.
And in complete contrast to my real reaction, Everchild sees this as a sage occurrence and just nods wisely at this.
And so you are in this room. The waters lap hungrily at your ankles, and it sends ripples through its black surface. You find that it's so quiet in this room. You can hear nothing but the slow dripping of water. You smell the stench of death and decay. And you see in the middle of this room is a large dais. And Corla, you, in a sudden head rush of a flashback, you once laid on this altar. You were surrounded by dark hooded figures, daggers poised above their head. You were here when the dark figure saved you. And you were also here when your other companions, the ones whom you trust, left you. Or trusted, I should say. What is your reaction upon having this realization, this recognition?
As she sees these images in her head, she kind of stumbles forward, and then immediately she turns and rushes back towards the portcullis and is grabbing it with both her hands. It's like, no, I will not go there again. No, you cannot make me. It is not. Oscar, come back for me. Come get me. Save me.
You do not hear any response. You do not even hear the receding footsteps of Oscar.
I think she would continue to try to bang on the portcullis, trying to shake it to get away.
Probably in the quiet of this place, apart from the hungry water, as Connor phrased it, I imagine Corla's screaming and shouting, and the rattling the portcullis is actually very loud. And Fell, who's just sort of kind of surveying the area, trying to avoid looking at the altar, jolts a little when she hears Corla start to cry out, and she'll turn back around and she'll just say, Corla, what? And then she realizes that this is probably a place that Corla is remembering or something like that. And she'll actually go over to you, Corla, and just say, Corla, it's all right. All right, just hang on. You're not going to be sacrificed. This is not, just calm down. All right, we're going to figure this out. No one's going to get hurt. This isn't going to be like whatever it is may have happened down here last time. All right, just take a breath. Take a breath. It'll be okay.
How do I know? How do I know? You talk so bad words to me, and how do I trust you? You could be tricking me.
And Fell will, probably for the first time since we've met you, Corla, she will actually look you directly in the eyes, and she'll just say, Corla, I want to get out of this house. Really badly. This place is terrible. You know probably better than the rest of us. We're not going to hurt you. We're going to try and get out of here, all of us. And she'll glance back at Eli for a moment, and then back at the Everchild. I don't know where Oscar went, but we're going to get out of here. No one's going to hurt you. No one's going to be sacrificed. And then she will very pointedly look back at the Everchild before looking back to you, Corla. It's going to be all right.
And as you're speaking to her, you can see like the rage and the anger just flashing in Corla's eyes as she looks at you. But then as you continue to speak, you can tell like her hands are like they were clenched in fists, and they start to relax a little bit as she's hearing what you are saying. And you can just kind of see a little bit that the anger just kind of leaves her body slightly. I will not go on that thing again.
You won't have to. All right?
All right. I just want out of here.
Absolutely. Me too.
I think we pretty much all want to get out of here, and I'd like to think we've done our best to keep you safe up to this point, Corla. And I'm hoping that, I'd hope you'd trust us by now.
I trusted other party. We'd been together much longer, and yet they still turned to save their own selves, which obviously did not work, as we saw one on table dead.
You're forgetting the most important thing, Corla. You say you've been here before.
I have.
You're not dead on the table. You're still alive.
Yeah, right. I am, but at what cost? We have already been told twice now that I am will wish I had been dead.
Well, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that doesn't happen. And since we came in this room, and especially since Corla started freaking out, I've pulled my crossbow out. And I just have my crossbow at the ready, just keeping an eye on the room.
Everchild wades through this water. For the others that are more taller, perhaps is only like ankle deep, or even knee deep. For him, it is quite a deep water. And as he wades, his hand clutches at something near his chest, on some leather tendon around his neck, and it glows brighter than a torch ever could. As he walks, he climbs up onto these stairs, step by step, as he climbs onto the dais to inspect that altar.
As you step 1 foot onto this dais, immediately the silence is broken by a cacophony of chanting. You hear that it gets louder and louder, surrounding you, and as this chanting continues, you see on this altar suddenly appears just beyond it a smaller table, and you see 3 goblets. One immediately becomes lit, bursting into flame in the center. One on its left is empty, stained with a coppery sheen to it. The one on the right is full of soot and ash. And from what was once just this nonsensical chanting, you hear some voices come from it. One must die. One must die. One must die. One must die. And you hear that. It is just surrounding you everywhere. What would you guys like to do?
Everchild looks from this table of goblets down into the watery depths where the three others stand. No words form on his lips, of course, because Everchild is mute. But even to accompany this, no words enter your minds through a ghost-wise whisper. He is silent, but his eyes say more than nothing. His eyes scream of duty, passion, resolve, sacrifice.
As soon as the chanting started, I imagine since Corla and Fell are standing kind of close, Corla would definitely have seen whatever sort of reassuring air Fell was putting on just immediately vanish as her hands start to shake and she starts to sweat and she's looking around frantically trying to find the source of these this awful chanting, and her hand flies to the rune-carved bone tucked into her belt, her sort of crude arcane focus that she found, and she pulls it out, but she doesn't know what to point it at. So she's just sort of looking around frantically. Her breathing is heavy. Her eyes are wide. Sweat is starting to trickle down her face. And she looks to you, Eli, and she just says, we're not actually going to do this, right? We're going to do what Maria said, right? We can defy the cult and kill the monster, right? We're monster hunters, right? That's what we do, right?
I have no intention of any of us dying here.
Great, good.
And I sure, in the nine hells, do not intend to offer myself or any one of you up as a sacrifice to whatever entity this may be.
Does the chanting seem to be like maintaining the same volume as we're talking, or is it okay? So it's not changing really?
No, and it is actually gaining intensity as the Everchild is approaching the altar. And everyone make perception checks for me, please.
Perception.
That's a natural 20. For a 20.
Okay, let's see. That is an 18.
So, Everchild, you are focused on the altar. You're focused on the goblets and nothing else. But the other three of you, surrounding the altar, you see what look to be these shimmering figures, these silhouettes robed in black cloaks, surrounding in a semicircle and around the altar, and you can see that the two at the end seem to be beckoning to the Everchild, welcoming him in, beckoning him forward.
No, Everchild, there's got to be a different way.
Everchild, get down from there.
Fella's gonna slowly raise her arcane focus up and just kind of point it in the Everchild's direction, like trying to be sneaky about it, or at least somewhat stealthy about it, not draw too much attention to herself. And she's going to wait to see what he does. If he moves towards the beckoning figure, she's going to cast a spell. Or try to, anyway.
Does Everchild keep moving?
Everchild hasn't seen this beckoning figure, so he's just going to be. He takes another step and then another step towards the trio of goblets as he looks upon them more.
Do not touch those.
Everchild, stop. Don't do this. You don't have to do this. We can find another way. We can beat the monster, right?
Everchild, make me Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Strangely fixated on this. He's not responding to your claim, Fel. What do you want me to make?
Religion check, please. or wisdom or an insight check, sorry. Whichever you prefer.
That's going to be a 17.
So, along your travels, you have met many people, you have experienced, I assume, probably very many different religions and their practices. So, you see before you, and you kind of recognize what this is asking you. These 3 goblets, the one in the fire, you have a choice. You either spill your blood into the goblet on the left, giving up your life force and pouring it into the fire, stoking these flames. Or you take the ash and the soot from the right goblet and you snuff out the flames, thereby denying the offer.
Everchild goes to I speak to the 3 of you. If this is not done, all 3 of you will be condemned to die in torment by beasts, spirits, demons, whatever this place wills to be. When the shepherd offers up a lamb for veal, he becomes the executioner. But when the shepherd offers himself, not for veal, not for glory, but of the sanctuary of his own flock, he is a martyr. He is a hero.
We're not looking for martyrs here. You
And
can
I'm
do
not
whatever
looking for
you need to
bloodshed.
do to deny this sacrifice, Everchild.
You've seen how this house hungers.
You've seen how this house lies. How do you know that if you even do this, that it will let us go?
Maria is a trustworthy. She is one who's seen many ills befall herself. She's not one to lie. She did not gain from this. Yet she told us of the answer, nonetheless. Remember,
You'd make a liar out of me. I said I wasn't going to let anybody die here today.
and as you say that, Everchild will extend his hand, and with his nails he'll pierce into his flesh of his palm.
And seeing that, if possible, Fel is going to cast Hold Person on him. I need a Wisdom saving throw from the Everchild.
Oh boy.
But you're a cleric, so you'll probably be fine.
Oh yeah. That's going to be a grand total of 17.
Yeah, that'll definitely beat. So I imagine in her rage at this self-sacrificing, pointless, needless waste, Fel just stabs forward with the arcane focus. And for a minute, the veins on the back of her hands flood with black. Her eyes turn black, but then she loses her grip on this magic that she doesn't quite understand how to control. And the rage fades to be overcome by the fear caused by this chanting. And the spell just completely fails. And she just sort of staggers back a little surprised.
And you'd see like this aura of like this just lapping light come over and just cocoon Everchild in that moment that you cast this Hold Person spell on him, as if he'd been deterred by his own faith.
Megan, would I be able to determine any sense of the purpose of these chalices? Trying to gauge what exactly which one Everchild's trying to use.
Yeah, you can make me either a religion or an insight check.
Probably
Anyone can if they would like to.
that is a 19 total.
Perfect.
So
So
it sorry.
sorry, you basically know the same thing now. Yeah,
Then-
everyone but Fel knows what Everchild is doing.
Then I'm raising my I've already had it at the ready. I'm raising my crossbow and I'm taking a shot at that goblet. The one
Okay.
Everchild intends to pour his blood into.
Okay, make me an attack roll, please.
All right, and I have an archery specialist. So I have a +2 to all ranged attacks. So let's see, my crossbow is a +6. That is a 4 on the die. Hold on, I'm checking something because this is my first time using a character on D&D Beyond. Actually, it's not. It's my second time, I guess. I can't use that. No, I think that's just what it is. I don't have any domain dice or anything.
No domain dice.
Nope.
And while Fel is casting her spell and Eli is trying to shoot the arrow, Corla will make a dash towards the dais herself and Everchild, trying to stop him. I can move 35 feet, but that's not sure if
Okay.
I'll get there in time.
How am I going to do this? I want you guys to...
competing decks, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, do a competing dex roll to see who can achieve their action first.
Right, 14 on the die for a total of 18.
I got 19 on the die for a total of 22.
So what are you trying to do, Corla? You're trying to...
I'm going to try to grab his hand that he is putting over top of the chalice.
You do so. You're able to grab Everchild's hand. Before... I assume that, Everchild, you're trying to make this wound a bit deeper, right? Or...
Mm-hmm.
So you're able to grab his hand before he can do that, and I assume you just kind of cover the wound that he was making.
Yeah, so I'm kind of holding his hand, like I've grabbed his hand and I'm holding it such that the blood will not drip into the chalice. No, Everchild, I cannot let you do this.
It's not your choice to make. Please step aside.
Everchild,
It is for your own good.
but you have saved me twice now.
And this will be my final time.
And she looks deep into your eyes, Everchild, and she's trying to read your will and how determined you are to do this. Do you want me to do an insight check?
If you would like to, yep.
Okay, I got 23.
In
What does
response
Corla
to
see?
in response to you even looking at me deep in my core, I would probably even just respond knowing what you're trying to do. There's no deceit in my actions. Is what I would ghostwise whisper to you.
You have decided there's nothing we can say to stop you? To change your mind?
It is what Lathander wishes me to do. Yes, I know.
My heart is breaking. Everchild. And she will let go of your hand.
And as Everchild extends his bleeding palm over the empty chalice, sorry, I guess over the flame,
It would be over the empty chalice.
and then
That kind of
the
has
empty one
blood.
pours in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd hold it over the empty chalice. Before he releases his fingers, the three of you would hear, "And you are saved. Forgone are your shackles, forgone your curse. Leave this place." As he lets go and lets the blood fall.
As soon as the first drop of blood... Before we do that, does anyone want to do anything else? You won't be able to get to the...
I mean, like how far away is the little mini table with the goblets?
Well, it's at that opposite end of the altar. So it's at the far end, the east.
It's really not that big of a room. Good lord, hang on a second. Yeah, all right. So Fel, seeing Corla let the Everchild's hand go, yeah, she's going to try and bring back to the fore that feeling she felt when she first cast Mage Hand to close a door that would have led to the upper levels of the house. She's going to try to focus on that feeling, and this spectral teal hand is going to appear. Is it going to appear up to 30 feet away? Is that enough to get to the goblet and just kind of swat it off the table?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I imagine like she's focusing, sweat starting to bead on her forehead. She's like, come on, come on, come on. And then this spectral hand just appears, Everchild, in front of you. And it's almost like a dismissive wave. It just swats the goblet off the table. And then I imagine it just flicks you off and then fades away.
Everchild, I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, please.
All right. Total of 12.
So with that, you are unfortunately unable to grab the goblet.
Could I try as a reaction, seeing as I'm right there as well?
Sure, yeah.
It is probably not meant to be. That is a 12.
No. Unfortunately not. It clatters to the floor. Not far. Like it's only down a few steps.
This is really stupid. Let's stop this now.
Everchild, do you go for the cup? Or what would you do? You still have the two other goblets.
Everchild would have his bleeding hand go directly over the flame.
And I'm...
Well, wait, so the goblet that he was trying to drip the blood into is the one with the flame, correct?
No, that was... It's empty. Yes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, understood. Never mind.
Yep. And so... Everchild, your blood drips into the flame. And you see it spark. You can hear the sizzle of your blood. And then it becomes more and more as more and more drops. You look at your hand and it almost looks as if the blood is being pulled from your hand into the fire. You can feel yourself becoming weak. And now you can see the hooded figures standing around you, Everchild.
And he'll ghostwise shout to them, "You will not have them. They are not yours. I am yours. Take me, but not them. I offer myself. Lathander's chosen Everchild, bearer of this blood, and of his morning glory." And he'll ghostwise whisper to the three of you, "You are now free. Run." As he just full on lets the wound open further, as the veins in his hand get ripped open by this suction upon the cup.
Everchild, in front of you, you see a hooded figure step forward, so that it is standing right before you, looking down. And he slowly unveils, lifts his hood, and you see what has been depicted as the face of Lathander. It shines in the light. It seems to glow in this dark place. But you see the smile that begins to creep across this Lathander's face, and it doesn't look quite natural. It continues on past the point of any natural smile would. And you see that this hooded figure grips your wrist and puts it directly into the fire. Slams it down onto the ashes. Thank you for your sacrifice. And you all hear as the walls begin to shake, as the walls begin to tremble. Loose pieces of dirt and stone fall from the ceiling, fall from the walls. And you see this figure take this chalice of fire that is now a crimson red. And he begins to walk it over to the south end of the southern end of this room, where there lies a pile of bones and bodies, rotting corpses and refuse. And he walks over and he drops the fire into this mound. And immediately it begins to form. Bones upon bones begin to form, and they all coalesce together until you see this sight standing before you. Sorry.
Sorry.
I want to get a better look at this thing. This is fucked up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break you, man.
Sorry. The face. Anyway, so you see that this thing's head seems to be gushing blood as it slowly begins to walk towards you. and you hear the chanting continue, and you hear the voices coming to a crescendo. Come, demon, we awaken thee. And I need everyone, the three of you, to roll for initiative.
That is the second natural 20 of the night. It would have been nice to roll that at a more opportune time.
Okay, so, Fel, you are first.
So what is exactly happening to the Everchild right now? Like, I know this thing drank the weird fire blood, and now it's awake. But what is he doing, or what is his current state?
You see that Everchild is slumped, colorless, eyes open in death, laying on the altar.
Oh, he actually looks dead?
Dead.
Interesting. Okay. Wow. How far away is this thing? It's at the other end of the room?
Yes, it's at the southern end of this room.
Okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, that works. So seeing Everchild's body slumped over, seeming to be dead on this altar, and seeing this horrific thing, Fel's going to kind of jerk her arcane focus in the direction of this creature, and just fueled by pure adrenaline and fear, and more than a little bit of anger, her eyes go black, the veins in her hands turn black, and she's going to try to cast a Chaos Bolt at 2nd level on this thing. Let's see if I can hit. God damn it. All right, yep, that's all I got. That is a 10.
That does not hit.
Yeah, so I imagine this kind of, this little pea-sized ball of, like, black fire starts to generate at the tip of the arcane focus, and then she just loses control, maybe seeing Everchild slumped out of the corner of her eye, and the little fireball kind of fizzles, sputters, and then just dissipates. And she is going to move back toward the portcullis. She's already pretty close to that area anyway, but she's going to move back there and then kind of up those stairs to the right, I guess, kind of getting out of the water and crouching on that little walkway. And that is going to be her turn. And she'll kind of hurriedly gesture for Lancelot to join her if the dog is not doing that already.
The dog is definitely cowering by the portcullis.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. All right, Corla.
So Corla looks at Everchild's body lying there, white and devoid of blood, and she looks at this thing, and rage just encompasses her entire body. I'm going to use a bonus action to do insightful fighting. I'm going to make an insight check against that creature, contested by its deception. If I succeed, then I get to use sneak attack, even though I don't have anybody by me, etc., etc.
Ah, cool. Okay. So you said it's perception, sorry?
Deception.
Oh,
So
deception.
Yeah. And I got a nat 20 on the die, so that will be a total for me of 26.
Yeah, that beats what I rolled.
Perfect. So I am going to now attack it, and if I'm successful, I get to do my sneak attack damage on it. So I am running at it, yelling, and hopefully we'll hit it. Okay. That's right, let's go. That'll be a 16 to hit.
That does hit.
Oh, yay. Okay. So sorry, I'm trying to find my sneak attack Third level, I should be what? 2d6. Okay, perfect. Okay, 2d6. Oh, I rolled 2 1s. That's horrible. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 points of damage.
Okay. You see that this thing hardly even seems to notice this damage, as it's still almost trying, it's still gathering some of these bones and ligaments and sinew together, as it just, without being too on the nose, as it shambles forward. So, is that your turn?
That is my turn, and that insightful fighting lasts for a minute or until I use it against a different target.
All right. So you are right up on this thing, and it is its turn. You see that it's going to try and reach out towards you with one of its many, many hands. That is going to be a 17 to hit.
Oh yeah, that gets me.
You see that it grabs you, Corla, and it lifts you up. And so this kind of conjoined head that it has is huge. And you see that it takes you and it lifts you behind it. And you guys all see this as bones are breaking and cracking and just going to at weird angles. This thing lifts Corla into what is its head. And Corla, I need you to roll a d4 for me.
That will be a 4.
You are immediately engrossed in this fleshy, visceral, just area. You can barely move. You can barely breathe. You feel like you're suffocating. You can feel this thing. This is where it lives, is alive. You can feel this thing moving around you. Its organs, its everything. And as you're kind of trying to claw your way through whatever viscera this thing has inside of it, you hear the sound of a baby crying. And as you make your way towards this noise, you see that there is a small baby in amongst this gore. It is connected by veins and arteries coming out of every part of its body. But it looks at you. And it is holding a light. Just this, it looks to be holding this small, little, yellow, golden light. Okay, and with that, Eli, it is your turn.
Seeing everything that's unfolded in the last few seconds, looking over at Everchild, I'm filled with anger. An anger at Everchild, an anger at Lathander, if this so-called God did demand this sacrifice, anger at whatever forces are at work here. And it's as if this anger is making me stronger. And as a bonus action, I'm using my second wind right off the bat. So that is going to give me 8 additional hit points. Since I was already in bad shape to start with. And I bring my crossbow already reloaded to bear on this thing, aiming for what looks to be a vital part. And I'm going to take a shot at it. And that is a crit. That is a natural 20.
Nice.
So how are you doing the nat 20 damage?
Same as you do.
Okay,
that's
so
what
that's
I know.
Let me go back here. So that's crossbow. So that's 1d8 plus 2. So that's already 10. Plus, oh, I rolled a 1. 11 points of piercing damage. And depending on how this thing reacts to being shot with this crossbow bolt, it's going to depend on my next action.
I mean, it looks a bit injured, a bit more than what Corla did.
Corla did to it.
Yeah, but it's still pretty hardy looking.
I am not satisfied with what just happened, and I don't reload my crossbow. I'm going to action surge right away. I throw my crossbow down on the ground, unloaded. I reach up to the high side of my rucksack that's actually a wooden chest. And there's a latch up in the upper corner. And with my thumb, I just flick it. And this whole side section just sort of drops down. And it comes to about a 45-degree angle. And I reach up and I pull on a curved piece of wood. And as I pull it out, attached to this curved piece of wood is a hexagonal sort of cylinder of metal with 6 holes in it. It's got all kinds of engravings all over it, like scrimshaw. The handle is engraved. It looks like something that's been worked on for a very long time. I extend it towards this creature. And there's a tremendous crack of thunder as I fire Righteous Indignation, the pepper box that I built. Also, side note, revealing that I took the gunfighter subclass. So, and I'm also going to expend my only grit point to... Which is good. Hold on. I got done a ton of stuff I need to mark off. Second wind, action surge, and I'm going to spend this grit point, which is going to allow me to do one of 2 trick shots, and I'm gonna take a dead eye shot. I've never fired this thing before. That's going to grant me advantage on this shot as I level the pepper box. And that's a 6 and a crit.
Nice.
On the same die that just rolled the crit. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the pepper box, Righteous Indignation, does 1d10 plus 2, so that's 12 damage. Plus the d10. That's 18 points of piercing damage from this bullet.
So you see this bullet shoot out and just tear. I can imagine that you aimed for it, and it rips apart a part of the body. You did some serious damage to it. It still slowly is kind of lumbering around almost aimlessly, but you definitely heard it.
I literally have nothing else I can do. I'm not going to move. I'm just staying at distance and just keeping this thing in my sights.
All right. Now we're back up to the top of the order with Fell.
With the boom of righteous indignation echoing in her ears, Fel looks at you, Eli, and just says, "That was really cool. Ow!" And then she's going to gesture again with the focus, and she's going to attempt to cast a firebolt, if she can, because the thing still has Corla in its grip, right? It's kind of like forcing it into its weird head mouth thing. If she can, I just for flavor aim the firebolt towards like the elbow of the arm that has Corla.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. That's an 11.
Unfortunately, I can imagine that with this loud bang in this smaller room, your ears are almost ringing.
Yeah, she was definitely a little thrown off, and I imagine the firebolt just kind of splatters harmlessly against the stonework. And then as Fel curses under her breath, she is going to use a bonus action. So she's going to take a moment, and feeling the focus grow warm in her hand, she's going to look at it, and some of the runes on it are going to light up with this teal colored light, and she feels reinvigorated, and she is going to convert 2 sorcery points into a first level spell slot as a bonus action, and that is the end of her turn.
Okay. Awesome. So, Corla, that brings us to you. You are trapped. And I need you to make me a... I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw, please.
I was afraid you were going to say that. 11.
So you take 3 points of bludgeoning damage as this thing is kind of throwing you around. It's getting hit. You can hear the sounds, though fairly muffled.
So you said the baby was attached?
Yes,
Like
in various places.
Like the stuff is growing out of it, or does it look like the stuff is growing into it?
It looks like it's growing out of it. Like it looks very, very integrated.
That's nasty. Can I actually move, or am I like restrained?
You will be able to move. However, you will have to make an athletics check to be able to kind of orient your body the way you would like.
Okay, I'm going to try to slice at some of these things that are growing out of the baby's body. Not actually the baby itself, but the things that are coming out of it. The
Yep.
grossnesses. So you want the athletics check first?
Yes, please. And I won't count that as an action. You can just do that before you make your action.
Okay, that is an 18.
Yes, so you're able to orient yourself, though I assume it's not the most comfortable thing for you right now.
No, not really. Okay, and now I'm going to try to attack the things around the baby. Oh, yeah. I used all my energy too. So that is a 9 to hit these things.
That does not. I can imagine that, like, you're about to aim for this thing, but last minute, you do not. But I figure that you're so enveloped in this, you still hit the actual monster thing, but just not where you wanted to. So you can roll damage.
Would I still get the sneak attack damage on this?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, beautiful. Oh, that's a much nicer roll. Okay, 12, 17. So that's total of 20 piercing.
Okay. Okay. So, this thing, it is going to move towards you, Fel. And it approaches you in these huge, long, large steps. And with one of its hands, it's going to try and just slam down into you.
She's going to use her reaction to shield that, just because panic. She's just freaking out. She just kind of gestures with the focus, and this bubble of teal-colored fire kind of just forms around her like a dome, bumping her AC up to, I believe that is 20.
Okay. So that is going to be a 26 to hit.
Yeah, that'll still hit. Damn it.
I mean, it's not a crit. At least it's not.
Yeah,
a crit.
that is true. That is very true. Megan.
I'm just trying to be helpful.
No, I got it. Thanks, DM.
So that is going to do 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. That works. Yeah, so I imagine probably the dome doesn't completely form before the hand just kind of smashes Fel across the face, and she staggers back a little bit, kind of up against the wall, before the dome closes around her.
Right. Eli.
Yeah, the only thing I can do is take another shot at this thing. I will shout a warning. Cover your ears! This thing's louder than I thought.
Thanks.
That is a... Let's see. I have... My pepper box is a +6, so that's a 23 to hit.
That does hit, yep.
So that is not a d20 damage. You grab the right die. That's going to be 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay. Though less injured than before, you are all beginning to see bones and various other parts slowly begin to fall off into the water from this thing. Did you want to make any movements, or is that...
The only movement I would make is if it somehow put somebody between itself and myself. So as long as I can keep a clear line of sight, I might strafe left and right. But otherwise I'm just keeping this thing in my sights. I've still got, in fact, I kind of look at it and just kind of like looking just to be assured. I still got 4 shots left.
Right. Back at the top to Fel, I need you to make me a perception check, being so close to this thing, please.
Yep. Exactly where your spellcasters want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually not bad. Let's see. I believe that is just a 16 on the die. Yep, and a 16 total.
So you see this strange light emanating from the head of this thing. And in that light, you see the silhouette of Corla struggling. But you also see another figure. And being so close, you can hear the crying of a baby. And you can almost see it. Like the light is radiating in the center of it, but you also see what looks to be all these strange veins and cords, like just things coming out from it.
So seeing that, Fel is going to first of all take her action to disengage as the shielding dome of teal-colored fire around her kind of flickers and then fades out of existence. She is going to move basically to the opposite side of the room. It's kind of hard to pick out the individual 5-foot squares on the little map there, but she will move as far as she can with her 30 feet of movement to get to the kind of opposite side of the room. And she will shout out to you, Eli, and just say, Eli, I think there's some sort of light and a child inside that thing with Carla. I don't know how to get them out, though. And that's going to be her turn, pretty much.
Okay. Corla, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, wait. Again, 11.
So again, you are going to take 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Ouch. I'm still going to try to hit those veins, things, whatever you want to call them, coming out of the babe. Do I still need to make an athletics check on this one too?
Yes, but you do so with advantage since you are already kind of situated.
Oh dear, that's an 11.
You are able to hit it. The veins.
Woot.
You can roll for damage.
6, 7, 10.
You are able to cleanly slice through all of the various veins and arteries coming from and going out of this child. And for the rest of you, Eli and Fel, you're all standing there and you see this thing begin to shake. Begins to rattle, and as it does so, which with each almost convulsing movement, a part of it falls down into this water, makes these splashes. And then you finally see the head of this thing crumble down beneath the weight of so few bones. And you're able, and this thing just totally dissipates. And Corla, you are left there holding baby Walter.
Does it still have the light?
He does. And he's looking up at you and cooing.
You are cute, but she will walk with the baby over to wherever child is lying. Not cooing. And I'm not going to place the baby on him, but I'm going to try and get the light close to it to see if it does anything.
What are the rest of you, Fel and Eli? What are you two doing?
I'm just watching. I have no idea what's happening. I mean, other than Fel briefly mentioning something about a baby and a light, I thought maybe Fel was coming under some kind of spell. So to see an actual baby and Corla, this is not what I was expecting.
And Fel has slumped against the wall on the opposite side of the room from where the portcullis was, just sort of sitting there staring, her head kind of tilted to one side as Corla presents this baby with this glowing light to the Everchild's corpse. She's just staring, her mouth hanging open slightly, trying to coherently put a thought together about what she has just witnessed.
Corla, as you carry this child towards the Everchild's body, you hear what sounds like the flapping of wings and the cawing of a raven. As you look, suddenly, standing beside Everchild's body is Gleowin. But, of course, you don't recognize who this is. But Fel and Eli, you recognize her. And she outstretches her hands towards you, Corla. I will take the baby now.
Who are you?
I am Gleowin. And she looks to Fel and Eli and nods at each of you.
And Corla would look to both of you, Fel and Eli, kind of confused about this whole thing.
She's sort of like, or was sort of like, the Everchild's creepy shadow minder, I guess. Good to see you again, Gleowin.
She says nothing, but her hands remained outstretched towards you, Corla.
Corla says nothing and holds the babe and looks at Fel and Eli. What do I do?
I think you give it to her.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with everything else going on, probably having a child with us is not a great idea.
Corla will look down at the babe with the power and and hand him over to Gleowin.
Do not fear. No harm will come to him. The Raven Queen has big plans. He is very important. He will be safe. And she takes the babe, still holding this light. And she kind of twists and turns and immediately disappears into a point with a small puff of raven feathers falling down from where she once was. And you all hear the chanting has stopped. Everything is silent. An odd peace has come through this house. And you all hear in your minds the voice of Gleowin. You are all important to this journey ahead. We will meet again very soon. And then silence.
Corla will touch Everchild's body, I guess, like kind of move it so it's in a better position. Looks like more, restful than just kind of draped over the altar. Is there any sign of life at all in this body?
There is none. The eyes are dim. Face is pale. There is no life left.
The sad truth of it is, Everchild is probably the only one that could bring Everchild back.
What about the and Fel will slowly pull herself up. What about the soul fragments that Maria gave us? Maybe we could try. I mean, I don't know how souls work, but maybe we could try. Better than just leaving him here.
I feel like that's something that might only work on a living soul, but I can't say there's any harm in trying.
I mean, if go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I have to be honest. I'm not, and she'll kind of awkwardly reach into her bag and pull out this little glowing mote of starlight. I imagine it's kind of cold to the touch. I'm not entirely comfortable hanging on to this, so I'm more than willing to use the one that she gave me to see if this works. And she'll look to you, Eli. Have you heard of anything like this before in your monster hunting experience?
I can't say as I've seen something directly like this, but I can say in my past I've had some familiarity with similar things. But I know you might not be comfortable, but maybe you should hold on to that, Fel. And I'm going to walk up and reach into Everchild's belongings. Because I believe we were each given one of these.
Yes.
And I'm going to see if I'm going to pull out the one that is on Everchild's person. And I'm kind of holding it in my hand, this thing. I'm not entirely sure how to use it, so I'm kind of just going on instinct. Is it an actual crystal or is it more like physical light?
It is more like physical light.
Then I think I'm gonna just gently try to slide it in between Everchild's lips, pushing it into his mouth.
Everchild, you have enough to say one thing that you would like before you have used up this part of a soul, as you are very, very temporarily brought back into this body.
Lathander's light wash over you. May your sunset be beautiful.
Is that said to all of us or just to Eli?
You can choose, Connor.
I think it would be because he's no longer like a corporeal person. Sorry, yeah, he's no longer corporeal really. This probably be heard, and even probably like an actual vocalization rather than some weird ghostwise whisper, as he has transcended that kind of mortal coil that was his own muteness.
Once he's spoken this, does the life leave him then?
Yes, you can see that this light did very little for him.
I would almost working on some sort of muscle memory. Reach up, draw my hands across his face, my fingers pulling his eyelids down, closing Everchild's eyes. And possibly without even realizing I'm doing it, I make a sort of gesture with my fingers over the body that is a rite of death, a rite of passage under the guidance of Shantea. And then I turn to the others. Everchild's light has indeed left this world, but perhaps we can take some solace in the sacrifice and what he has brought to each one of us in doing exactly as he said, earning us our freedom. And perhaps, and at this point, there's a little bit of anger seems to slip into my voice. Perhaps this was the will of a god. And if so, that is not something we should challenge here.
Fel will just nod slowly and put the little soul shard back into her bag. And she would just say, I don't know. And she'll look around the room. Considering what this place has showed us, I don't think... And she'll look back to you, Eli, and then even to you, Corla. I don't think there are any gods here. Not really. But we should try and find a way out if we can.
So do you leave?
We should take him out of here, though, shouldn't we?
Yeah, as soon as Eli has done his rite and said what he said, Corla steps forward and starts to pick up Everchild. We are not leaving him here.
I agree.
Is there any sense, can I get any sense of, in defeating this creature and setting this baby free, if this, for lack of a better term, if this house is cleansed?
Make me a religion or an insight check.
It's a 19 on the die, so that's a 21.
You are very familiar with the idea that if you properly bury someone, that they will be able to pass on successfully. Whether that is entombing them, some sort of rite that they get with their whole body that they will be able to pass on in peace.
Knowing that, I would, I think I would walk over to Corla, and as she's trying to pick up the Everchild, and Corla, remind me what your race is.
I am an elf. Wood elf, to be exact.
Okay. I came in the house, or he came into the house with us. If it's all right with you, I'd like to take him out. And I would reach to pick up Everchild, and I would pick him up actually surprisingly gently, cradling his body in my arms. He needs to be interred in the ground, and we will not do that in this place. Whether or not this place has been cleansed, I will not bury him here. And then I will take his body and start heading towards the exit.
Yeah, and as you turn to pick him up, saying that, Corla would actually have reached out to you and touched your shoulder as she nods, and then would follow you out.
And Fel would sort of trail a little bit behind, making sure to kind of scratch Lancelot behind the ears and then follow the group out with the dog. Because that dog is important.
Yes, Lancelot follows. He was not very much help, but he was moral support. So
we'll train him one day to be a war dog. Someday.
Yeah. So if you guys don't want to do anything else, where do you guys go? You have kind of two options. You can go up the up that secret way, up back all the way up to the attic, or you can go that way where you found that hatch.
We would probably, I would think, go up the hatch because we have a ladder and everything.
Much shorter.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So you are able to... I'll just say you were able to go up the stairs and find your way up to the hatch. You had moved the ladder, so you're able to move it back, and you open up the hatch, and you are back onto the first floor, essentially, of the main house.
I'm remembering what happened when Oscar tried to open the door the last time. After we originally entered the house, Fel will look to the other two and just say, wait here for just a moment. I'm going to try and see if I can open the front door from a distance so we can all stand back. Because there's kind of like the little entry room, right? And then the front door. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Actually, before you do, so with that room, I don't know why I don't have the map up, but with the room that you are in, to kind of the northwest is a door. That's where you guys are, and you go. If you were to go through that, you would be in the main, that first floor lobby foyer area.
Okay, that's right. Because I remember there were like game heads and other things in this little room or something like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And all of you, upon coming up, notice something different about the first floor. At one point, it was very immaculate when you had first come in. But now it is kind of fallen into now what you saw in the attic and the third floor. Dust and cobwebs and peeling fabric, peeling wallpaper, molding carpet. A place that has not looked like it has been lived in for many, many years. But Fel, as you go out into this main area, you see three figures. Actually, you see four figures standing in front of you. You see the three you recognize as Thorn, Rose, and Maria. The fourth is a man, tall, and from the paintings you recognize him as Gustav Durst, the husband. Do the rest of you come out as well to see this, or do you let Fel go in first?
Yeah, I imagine I'd be walking behind Fel.
And seeing these four figures, again, just instinctively, after everything we've endured in this house, Fel's hand will fly to the rune-carved bone tucked into her belt, and she'll grab it. There's just a look from Maria to Gustav to Rosevalda, and then finally to Thornbolt, and then back to Maria, and she'll just say, "What is this? What do you want?" "We cleansed the house, I think. I'm not sure, but we killed the monster. Saved the child."
Gustav steps forward. We all wanted to thank you for doing what ourselves and so many others could not. Now we are free to go into the depths, search for our missing bones, and return them to the crypts, which then we can be at peace. Finally, be at peace.
And she'll look back over her shoulder at you, Eli, and then at you, Corla, before looking back at the spirits. Right. Well, thank you for your help, Maria, and good luck to all of you, I suppose.
You as well.
I don't say anything to him. I'm just standing there holding Everchild's body in my arms.
Corla, do you say anything, or are you silent as well?
I am silent as well, unless it lasts too long, because then she'll turn to Fel and like, "Can we leave now? I would like to get out of here."
No, I trust me, I got that. I'm just not entirely sure if and then she'll look back at the spirits. "All right, we're going to go now, so good luck and everything." And she's going to, still keeping her hand on the focus, just kind of sidle awkwardly around them in the direction of the that little parlor area before the front door.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to do that, and if you guys were to look back, they would be gone.
I swear, that was, anyway, all right. If you all stay here for just a moment, I'm going to open up the little door into the entry room area, and then I'm going to try to open the actual front door of the house from a distance. If the mist comes in, I'll close the door, and we'll figure something else out, I guess. So she's going to kind of open that little entryway door, and then she's going to scoot back to where Eli and Corla are, maintaining about a 30-foot distance between her and the front door. And then she's going to once again kind of focus. It probably takes a little while. And then the mage hand appears from her own hand, and it glides forward, soundlessly grabs the doorknob to the front door, turns it, and tries to push the door open, or pull the door open.
You are able to pull the door open, and the room does not immediately flood with mist. In fact, there is no mist that you can see outside, and it is actually cleared quite a bit. So much so that you can see that this house was actually you can see other houses across the street from you, where once the fog was so thick you couldn't see anything. Do you guys all go out, or?
Yeah, if the way's clear.
You all walk out of the house. And before you, you see a black carriage with black horses. Beautiful, but something about them is not quite right. The door to the carriage opens, and out steps a man. A man that Corla and Fel you recognize. Tall, dark features, gaunt. He stands there looking at all of you. And that is where we're going to end.
I drop Everchild.
Thud, 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 thud.
And there we go. You guys survived the death house. Well, most of you.
Well, it's been a great campaign. I'm so sorry that you lost your character, Connor, but maybe next campaign. Who knows?
And then there were 3.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So.
I'm so glad I did not roll a misfire on the first time I used my firearm.
Yeah, you guys got him down you guys got the mound down to half points, so that's good.
Correction, Corla and Eli got the mound down to half points. I don't think I hit that fucking thing one time.
If it hadn't have been for righteous indignation, I'm not sure I would have done so well.
Man, you were so lucky. Like, one of those slams that the mound does 2d8 plus 4 damage, and I rolled 2 1s. So
yeah, it's a nasty, nasty monster. Ugh.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I almost never play pure martial characters, so this is actually kind of a challenge, not having any magic whatsoever. I'm looking over what I can do, and I'm like, literally the only magic I have is this like mote of Maria's soul that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean, like in the All That Glitters campaign, and I'm just a rogue, and it's very challenging to do things that just magic people can just boop. But anyway, so that was that was kind of the beginning, and now we can actually start the Curse of Strahd campaign.
This is like those Netflix shows that go on, like one episode goes on for like 45 minutes before they ever show the opening credits.
Yep. Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, right? Here we go. Dun, dun.
Now we're playing.
Yeah, this is a video game that has a very, very long prologue. But this has been an absolute blast. I would not.
Only 3 of the characters survived the intro.
This is true, yeah. Oh no, only 2. Because it's only Eli
two
and
originals.
That's
yeah,
Two
yeah.
originals.
Wow, that is humbling.
Well, I am so pleased. I would not have it any other way, and I am so excited to see now that we are going to step into the world of Barovia, which is a lot more open and a lot more choice driven. I think that will be where the real fun can start.
I'm really excited for this campaign and for Barovia, because I've run for a home group. I've run bits and pieces of it. I sort of moved them through some elements of the different settings as they came out. We were doing mostly homebrew stuff. So I'm familiar with a lot of it, just as it is in the book. But I bet it's been 3 years since I've looked at this stuff. And I've looked at Death House I don't know how many times, and I had no clue what was happening. Because you always put your unique spin on things. So I'm looking forward to Barovia by Megan.
I am so excited. I got plans, so I'm really
She's got plans.
I got plans. So I'm really excited to see how you guys do that. And yeah, thank you guys for such an awesome little intro to this. I'm really, really enjoying it. So, and thank you to everyone who is watching now and in the future. And these guys are awesome, and check them out. And so Thursday, I will be playing on the Mini Terrain domain channel with a 16.5. Is that right?
Yeah, we're calling it a bonus episode. We had our season finale, and this is just kind of, we wanted to have some casual RP and dice slinging for some downtime activities.
And that will be really, really cool and really, really fun. So, and then on Friday, you can tune in to Myth and Gears, where Connor and I will be playing Genesis with a murder kind of like a murder mystery, steampunk, Victorian kind of thing. Grim Secrets on Cobbled Streets. So look forward to that. Lots of cool stuff going on, lots of cool stuff happening, and we will see you next time.